Hey guys, so I miss you all already. Oh gosh, low battery. I'm gonna have to get my charger. So I miss you all already. I really was excited about finishing City of Hope this coming week, but we're gonna have to kind of finish it over this video and kind of finalize it when we come back. But first, this video is gonna be about Daughter. I just want to talk about some things. So I know, Daughter is done and is honestly looking pretty good. I think, in the next couple of weeks, my plan was to, kind of work with dancing in smaller spaces, but especially with working with just kind of adding your emotion to it. We have the steps down. We're, continuously working on, cleaning different parts and making sure that we're all on the same counts, and we're on pretty good track there. But, we really need to get it to a point where you guys feel kind of like feel connected to the piece and can really like portray your emotions through it. And so while you're home, I think the biggest thing with Daughter is literally that you're just reviewing. So any videos that you have that we've sent out, make sure you're watching and reviewing. Make sure that you're listening to the song and going over, the sequence in your head, going over the counts, going over all the corrections that we made, so that we don't lose any of the progress that we've made with this dance. So yeah, that's really important. I have some things that we could work, that you guys can work on from home, because I think at this point it's just about running it and like building up the stamina, kind of getting like, working on those transitions. And so while you're at home, I want you guys to just kind of think about, one, like what is your intention with this dance? So I think, listening to the lyrics, listening to the song, even taking some time to like improv to the song, and, figure out what is it about for you. Like I think, my thing is like, God is, it's kind of about like God looking at us as like we're daughters of Christ, right? We're daughters of the Lord. And, what does it look like, or what does it feel like to like really embrace that and to be like, yeah, like I am God's daughter, like I am, he is my father, I'm his daughter. And really leaning into that, and then dancing with each other as like sisters, right? If you're all daughters, like we're all sisters. And so what is it like to connect with, now obviously like you guys are all home alone, but you can kind of think about that, like what does it mean to dance in unity and to dance like as a part of this group. And kind of like what Miss Tracy was talking about with like dancing through the Holy Spirit, like connecting with God and then connecting with the people around you. And so I think while you're home, like definitely work on that connection with God, like through, even if you like look up the lyrics to the song and like, really like ponder on the lyrics and like what they mean to you, and kind of just have like an intention, like something, whether it's something in your life, something that's happened, something that you're going through, just kind of like brainstorm how you can just connect to that idea and to, what, the singer is kind of, trying to get at. So yeah, so that's like one thing. And then another thing too that you can work on your own is figuring out how to take up space with your movement. Now, so I know we're talking about like condensing the dance a little bit so that the formations can kind of fit, but what does it mean to like dance big within that? And so we talk a little bit about that, like, instead of just doing the movement, like here, or like when we have, like a certain pose, like what does it mean to like reach beyond that and to be lengthening, right? So we really want to focus on that. So I would, encourage you guys to walk through the dance, exploring, like with kind of with like a spirit of like exploration, like how can I find more in like each specific movement, and especially in your solos. The reason why I gave you guys those parts was because I wanted to highlight your individuality and to highlight kind of each person as like this like special, like each of you guys are like special, like every single person is so special to God and so unique to God, and we're all like different and uniquely made, and then we come together as one. And so it's like you guys are all such unique dancers coming together as one in this piece. And so really fine-tuning your solos and like thinking about what is that like moment, what does that highlight, those 8 counts or whatever, like mean to you, and let that kind of show like through your movement, through your face. That's another one, facial expressions. Think about what is your face supposed to look like for this one, right? We're not pasting on like cheesy smiles the whole time, but we also don't want to be like so focused and like immersed in you know, like, oh, the movement and the counts and like trying to, you know, like keep up the energy, that like our faces are kind of like dead, right? So we want to have this like, you know, lifted, like, you know, like excited, worshipful like aura about us, right? And then the last thing I have on my list is working on transitions. And so, you know, like all moves kind of have these like transitional like areas. And so I think what we need to work on now is how do we dance through those transitions and how do we dance with intention through those transitions rather than like, oh, here's this 8 count and now we're transitioning to like this formation or to this move, and you just kind of gloss over that transition. So you want to make sure that like those are seamless and effortless and like that you're still dancing through those and that those are kind of seen as just as important as you know, like the bigger moves itself, like the jumps and, you know, the turns and like those different things. So I'm going to walk through the dance, or just certain parts of the dance with you to kind of show some of the things that I want you to work on at home, and then you can kind of look at those and then also like look at your own parts as well. Okay, so the first thing for daughter that I want to focus on, I'm gonna see if I can get this so that you can see all of me, is the part that you guys do while everyone else is doing their solos when we're in our V, and we do this part. So this is kind of like, you know, just a subtle repetitive movement that we do to be like non-intrusive on the person dancing in that exchange, because the focus should be on, you know, those little highlights, those little solos. But that doesn't mean that like that movement isn't important and that like, you know, doesn't have intention as well. And so when we're in that, we have, you know, our weight's on one foot, our right leg's back. You know, we do a nice deep plie and we move our hand in front of our face like that. And then we come up. And so everyone does this, right? And it looks great, but I think there needs to be a little bit more of a focus, kind of like up and outward and a lifting of the chest, right? So I just need to see more energy, even though it's like, it's easy and it's simple and pretty straightforward, you know, like put a lot of energy and effort into that, right? It's like something is pulling you upward, right? And that chest is lifted. And it's kind of like, you know, like a, you know, looking towards heaven or like looking towards God and like worshipful, right? So like think of that as kind of like just like this worshipful, you know, kind of movement that you're doing before you kind of go in for your solo. So come down, make that a deep plie, and then we come up and it's open and big, and then we have another deep plie, come up, we come around, transfer our weight, and then even here, even though you're facing the back of the audience, right, you're facing back, that energy still needs to stand. And so you still need to have that, like, you're looking up, your chest is lifted, and you're coming down, right, connecting those arms to your back muscles to have that resistance, right? And so we're here, and then we do it again, right? We go this way. So same thing, doesn't matter if you're facing front or back, we have that motion. And the first time we do that, our next step is going into this part. And so like that same energy, you know, take with you into that. So you just finished here, and then we have a deep plie. Want to make sure that that is turned out so that we have that nice diamond shape there when we plie. The head goes down with it. We come back, throw the arms up, your gaze is up. And then we step and prepare for our little fan kick. Make sure that the eyes are up on that. So we want our chest lifted, our eyes are up and out. As we turn, this part looks good. We go into our pirouette, always working on those pirouettes, making sure that they're clean and sharp, even with the single lengthening like I'm talking about in ballet tech, how you end that plie is so important with lengthening of the arms. And then we come here. This part looks pretty good. Energy when we lift up. You guys are doing really well with that, so keep it up and try to find more when you reach up and the gaze comes with us. And then we chasse into our layout. That part looks good. The next part I wanted to talk about too was, let's see how much time I have. Okay. Was that floor part. So you get to the floor. This is another one of those parts that I was talking about. You can kind of find that little bit of like, just like extra, right? That intention, like what are your thoughts behind it? And so it's a little bit slower, but after we turn around, we do the kick, and then we come up and around. And so what I want to see there, and what I want you guys to focus on, is without rushing, right? We don't want to rush. We want to figure out how to get, like, once things are in our bodies, I think a lot of times we tend to like rush the music where it feels a little slow. But whenever it feels a little slow, that just kind of like gives you extra time to really dig into that movement and like lengthen and like just getting the most you possibly can out of that. And so here, I want to see a controlled leg and a lot of power. So we want to kick, and then that leg, that motion, is what brings you up into this. And so for this, it's not just, we like come off of our butt and like roll our like arms around, right? We want to let that motion take us into it, and it like starts there. So don't cut it short. It starts here and goes all the way around. So like, I guess the best way I can describe it is like, just make it more dramatic. And so, yeah, so from here, you come up, and then the arms kind of throw the arms with it, and your gaze goes all the way around. So it's like, see the room, right? So you're seeing the floor up all the way around. Like, I want to see you like really like get into that part. So you're up, and then that should be like so like suspended that it causes you to fall to the next part.